Welcome to the True Demon Lord Show. I am the True Demon Lord, Franco, and today we're going to be talking about the Chaos Demon list at WTC. So, for those people that don't know what the WTC is, it stands for the World Teams Championships. It's where not every country in the world, but most of them, battle it out against each other. Essentially, the World Cup for Warhammer, right? So, each team has, for the main event, 8 players, and you can take one of each index or codex in your team. So there is only 4 Chaos Demon lists at the WTC, which is a bit sad. It means we're not considered that great for teams at the moment, but I think we have some playing teams. I think we have some very good playing teams, and some of these lists, especially one of them, really shows that strength. So we're gonna be looking at them. We're gonna be going through them. Obviously, with teams, especially if you're not aware of this, you tend to see more skewed lists focusing into certain builds or certain units that you may not see more in a solo event. So bear that in mind. There will be some lists here. I mean, most of them pretty much are fine for solo events. But there is definitely one out of these 4 that will do better in a team's environment than a solo environment. So we're going to go through them. We're going to talk about them. I guess go through what I think is the strengths and weaknesses of each one, and ultimately just go through them and talk about them. So before we get into that, obviously we've got to do the important stuff. Leave a like and subscribe. It's completely free. It helps out the channel amazingly. We still have the giveaway for 500 subscribers going on. We have just hit that goal about a week and a bit ago. But the giveaway is still open and it'll stay open for another few weeks. So check out the video that was posted the other week, as well as the Facebook and the Instagram post, because that's where you do enter. And you can get your chance to win yourself some cool demon models. So I guess we should just get straight into it. So starting with the first one, we have Gonzalo Raven. So this is from Team Spain, and as you can see on here, we have the enhancements. Let's get on here. Yeah, so as you can see, we have the enhancements listed. So you got the Endless Gift, Argath. Yeah, just Endless Gift and Argath. So there's a Bloodthirster, there's a Ground Clean one. We'll get into it. The name of the list, you're going to jump like porn, is quite cool. I like that. So going into it, we have a Bloodmaster. So again, a giveaway. We're going to have some Bloodletters in here. I really rate the Bloodmaster as much as I'm not a fan of the Bloodletters. Bloodmasters are great. They really make the palatable which is quite nice. So then we have a Bloodthirster with Argath. Really, really solid. Doesn't like me. Always wants to fail his charges, and if he does make charges, he doesn't kill what he goes into. But overall, the Bloodthirster with Argath is a really solid monster, chucking out 9 strength, 18, -4 d6 +2 damage attacks. Pretty insane. Not to mention 16 strength, 12 -3 2 damage attacks. Yeah, so pretty insane. Plus the mortal wound damage he can do at the end, which is really, really nice. The Grout and Clean one, I mean, we can harp about this guy for ages. He is really, really, really good. Just super solid, 20 wounds, toughness 12, 4 up in 1 for no pain. The -1 toughness debuff is also pretty nice. And just being able to move him up to the middle of the board and hold points, and be just a pain to get rid of. Like your opponent either has to completely focus on him or ignore him, basically. And especially while you have other things going on, that's why it goes quite well in a list quite heavily focused on corn or just a combat heavy list. And because again, he just does the job of holding down a point while your other stuff runs off and does its thing. We then have a double Ring Master, which is really, really good. So again, there's going to be a lot of corn in this list, as we're already starting to see. So being able to get +1 strength, AP, and damage on a target, and stacking that if need be, just ups the ups your damage. And yeah, obviously Ren Masters are really, really good. We already know that. We have Scarbrand, again, super solid. We are starting to see double Bloodthirster become more of a thing, but I still think Scarbrand is solid. 6 flat damage is just incredibly good, and the potential to stop people falling back is also really nice. Again, as we're starting to see with this list, there's going to be a fair bit of corn, so that +1 attack aura will be quite beneficial. Skull Taker, who is just a unit, he's a mini thirster basically. He'll go into a unit with a character in it and do some work. Quite good for a mini assassinator. Already has precision um in the Slayer sword, so that makes it really good. Strength 6 -3/3 damage to dev wounds, gives dev wounds to his unit. Then we have Celeste. I'm not a fan of this. I'm not a fan of Celeste. Um, just because of the potential points she gives up. She can give up double bring it down. She can give up double assassinate if your opponent decides to take it as an option in fixed, which I think is a trap. But if they do, you know, a unit or a model you want to be quite aggressive with is already going to be giving away so many points. Saying that, she can be very annoying against armies like World Eaters or Tau, where they only really interact in one phase, meaning they can only really kill her once a turn. Is really, really good. And her damage is pretty nice. Plus, the Flamer for Overwatch and just in general is also really nice. So yeah, I don't think there's no demonettes for her, so she's on her own, which is interesting. A harassment piece, right? So I mean, she's good for that job. Then we have 2 units of blood letters, so one will have the Bloodmaster in, one will have Skull Taker in. I think that's quite standard. Like I said, the Bloodmaster makes the blood letters pretty good. +1 to wound. They're only 5/2/2 in combat, so the Ren Master can make them 6/3/3 or 7/4/4. Give them +1 to wound. These guys are actually then going to be doing a lot of work. +1 attack from Scarbrand to make them 3 attacks each. +1 to hits, so they're hitting on 2s from the Bloodthirster. Again, once you start completely buffing them, turning them Super Saiyan, they become really solid. That unit is insane. They can't take a punch back, but they can give a punch. But there's so many buffs on a 120-point unit. It just feels a bit all eggs in one basket. But it is really good. And obviously, Skull Taker gives them dead wounds, and again, that's a nice combination with the Red Master buff. So then we have 10 play bearers for the backfield. Super solid choice. I love play bearers. They're great for holding the backfield, making it sticky early, and then being able to pull them off and bring them back down to do some primary denial or even just scoring is just really, really strong. And then we have that's that's a really interesting end to the list. I guess we have got a lot up top. 3 blood crushers and then 5 seekers. So that's interesting. The seekers are nice. Obviously having that scout move, being able to block or do early action, especially considering you do your scout move, knowing if you've gone first or second. So if you've gone first, you can be quite aggressive with it. If you've gone second, you can be more defensive with it. Being able to either pull them back or pull them forward into a terrain piece. And 3 blood crushes, I guess it's just there to do a bit more wound damage. And, that's still 12 toughness 7 wounds before a pin bomb. So it's not terrible either. And it will benefit again from the same buffs the bloodletters will. Obviously the bladed horns won't get the +1 attack because they're extra attacks, but apart from that, the Rendmaster buffs, the Bloodthirster buffs, and the Riders will get the Scarbrand +1 attack buff. So I mean, I get it. There's so much corn in here that I guess that extra 3 blood crushes gives you another unit to benefit from it. Um, for me, there's not enough small units, but that's just because of my playstyle. I love a lot of little scoring units. But the damage on this list is pretty nuts. Pretty nuts. Because again, the Bloodthirst and Scarbrand are absolute monsters in combat. The Bloodmaster in the Bloodletters with Rendmaster buffs are insanely good. Skull Taker is insanely good, and he makes Bloodletters a little bit better. You start stacking Rendmasters on them, they are again really good. Celeste is a nice harassment piece to have in there. Like I said, she gives away a fair few points. It's a reason why I don't like her. But saying that, she's really annoying, and this list just wants to be complete full aggro, and hitting people, quite fast, quite hard. That's where the Grand King one can kind of anchor the middle. He goes forward, he puts a point on the board. Your Thirsters go forward, your Letters are dropping down within range of them, charging in, holding people down, smashing through them, and the Fat Boy sits in the middle, laughing on an objective. And then obviously the Playbearers hold the backfield until they need to come up, and the Seekers can be early harassment, early scoring. They're quite versatile. Obviously, they can't go through walls, that's their problem. But aside from that, they are really fast, 14-inch move. Obviously the 1-inch pivot, but that's fine. +1 to charge, reroll advanced charges. So yeah, like the list is solid. It's a very aggressive forward list. I can see this being an attacking list for Team Spain. Um, because again, it's just the damage it can put out is just insane. Because the Thanos is already doing good damage when he wants to roll well. Scarbrand is putting out insane damage, and then the Ren Masters, even if you do pairing a Ren Master with a Bloodletter unit, like at the same time, so one Ren Master with the Blood Masters unit, one Red Master with Skull Takers unit, and that's just that damage all in one turn. You're going to just carve a hole through your opponent's list with that. So yeah, it's as far as just being an aggressive list, it's a really, really good list. It's going to do a lot of work, and I can see them putting this out as an attacking list. I could be wrong, but I would reckon this is definitely an attacking list. So moving on to the second list, I'm going to butcher this. So we got Andreas Geritschlager of Team Austria. So again, enhancements, Argath, the Endless Gift, and the Everstave. So we have three big guys benefiting from it. Now this is a list more. I think this is the one that I looked at. This is more under my type of playstyle. I mean, the first unit up, obviously, I'm a big fan of. So we have Be'lakor. I still love Be'lakor. He fits in all my lists straight away. I still think he's really solid. Wreathed in Shade is still really good to stop you from just being blown off the board by certain lists. And even a lot of combat lists such as Blood Angels, Black Templars, you're going to see those big shooting elements. So they still have Be'lakor to keep you protected turn 1 against that, especially if you've got the monsters. It's still really good. Also, his Shadow Bubble is universal, so he can drop anyone within it, multiple different god units within him, within range of him. Just keeps that versatility going. Also, though he can definitely hit like a wet wipe, he's also got the capability of killing Land Raiders in combat because he has done it for me. So he's still a good amount of, strength 14 attacks when he decides he wants to actually hit something and not just slap it. Then we had the Bloodthirster of Argath. We've just gone over him. He's a beat stick. The Great and Clean One again. I could talk about this guy all day long. He's just a solid, great value points per wound value that you're just pushing up to hold a point at the board. The Lord of Change is a nice inclusion in this list. It gives him some long range shooting, stops him from just being basically zoned out by armies that got a screen. The Lord of Change can just put out some damage. It means he can then focus his combat in certain areas, but the Lord of Change doesn't have to be close, can move up, do some shooting, which is really nice. He is super solid. And then obviously Scarbrand again, we've just gone over him. He is an absolute animal. You drop him within 6 of the first star, or, which I really love, you drop the third star within 6 of Be'lakor, then you drop Scarbrand within 6 of the first star, or vice versa, and you play Russian Nesting Gold Demons, which is really, really good. We then have 10 Plague Bearers again for the backfield. Just like the first list, you're missing that unit of Nurglings. I like that one unit of Nurglings to counter like World Eaters and stuff like that. Anti-scout, anti-infiltrating, just because certain armies, especially World Eaters, getting that early scout can just swamp you. Now, obviously, there is a good bit of damage in this list, and against World Eaters, you're going to start pretty much everything on the board, mostly. And of the big monsters, they're pretty much starting on the board. I would anyway. Just to try and either deter straight up turn 1 Alpha Strike, or even if they do it, you have a good counter straight away if you were to go second. You can also stage yourself turn 1 to again deter them from coming forward as early. Then, like we said, Plague Bearers, stick in the backfield, come up late game to do some scoring. I love this. 3 units of 3 Fiends. I'm a big Fiend fan, and I'm definitely on the Fiend train. I'm on 15 right now, and they're doing fantastic for me. But 3 units of 3 I really like, especially with Scarbrand and the Bloodthirster and Be'lakor. The aggro of that is really nice. I'm actually really liking this list. As far as a monster match list goes, what else have we got? And 1 unit of Fleshhounds. So the Fleshhounds will do some scoring. It's still not enough scoring pieces for me. I like to have a good amount of scoring pieces. Fiends can still do scoring. Your monsters can do scoring if need be, like the Great and Clean One. But yeah, I do like this. It's another quite aggressive aggro list. The Fiends are super fast. They can stage up behind walls and then go through them. I love them. You pair them up with the big guys, so they're giving them the -1 to hit aura against things that aren't vehicles and Titanic, which is again really good. It just makes your Bursters, Scarbrand, and the Ground Clean one more resilient, which is already insane to say since he's already stupidly hard to kill. Um, Even protecting the Lord of Change, keeping a unit near the Lord of Change so you can heroic for 1 CP just to keep him protected against things that want to get into him and tag him up. Um, so yeah, I really like that. The Plague Bearers, again, as we said, they hold the backfield. They come up mid to late game to do some scoring or to some primary denial. The Fiends are just going to be massive harassment units. The Flesh Hounds, I assume, are going to be your throwaway scoring unit, move blocking, whatever you want to use them for. For 70 points, they're very good for that. And again, we are rocking the 5 monsters. Be'lakor keeps everything safe, while also being able to drop anything within 6 inches of him. The Bloodthirster, again, is just a beat stick alongside Scarbrand. The Great and Clean one is just um, really tough to kill, annoying distraction. And the Lord of Change can sit back and blast away at anything that comes towards the midfield. Should he need to move over and try to clear something on an objective quite far away from you, he's gonna be able to do that, or hopefully do that. So um I can see this again being another attacking list, but at the same time, I don't think this would be a defending list. But it might be like second wave of list in the pairing process. But I really like it. I really, really like it. Again, I wish it was like another 1 to 2 scoring units, which is where I think I would end up dropping a monster. If I was to drop one of them personally for me, maybe the Lord of Change, because I like the idea is going with the Thirster, Scarbrand, and the Fiends. Um, and then I think I would end up taking another 3 Fiends to make one of the units into a 6, just because I like the big Fiend units, and then draw it out with some Screamers or some more Flesh Hounds, whatever. And then unit of Nurglings. Um, yeah, I think the Lord of Change would get you three more Fiends, 2 units of Flesh Hounds, and a unit of Nurglings. I actually really like that. I shouldn't be looking at this. This is not doing me good. I've already got my mindset on trying to stay away from the monsters and do something a little bit different, and this just is trying to drag me back in. But overall, again, I like this list. I like this more than the first one, and I think this is a really, really solid list. Let's get into the next one, which we're already halfway down for some reason. So we've got Joel Larson of Team Sweden. The only enhancement we have is the Endless Gift. So it looks like no Bloodthirster. So we have Be'lakor again. I really like that. I love Be'lakor. And it's showing a point, right? Because there is an argument at the moment with Be'lakor. So by having, we've looked at 3 lists and 2 of them, the first one didn't have Be'lakor, right? Let's have a quick look. No. So by looking at these 3 lists that are going to WTC, you would assume some of the best players in their countries being taken in their teams. And 2 of the 3 of them have Be'lakor in them. Like it just shows that he is still very takeable. I am still using him, and especially right now, playing at a very high level and doing incredibly well. And I attribute a lot to him. So he's still very, very good. We have the Bloodmaster, again, like we said earlier, makes the blood letters so much better. The Grand Clean one, again, there's no point because I can fall down the rabbit hole with him. He's very good. Double Red Master and Skull Taker. So similar to the first list, except we have no Bloodburster, no Starbrand, but we do have Be'lakor and no Celestial. So interesting. So again, we're going to be seeing a lot of Thorn. Battleline units, 2 units of Bloodletters. No Plague Bearers in this list, though. I don't like that. I really don't like that. 10 Plague Bearers are the first things alongside Be'lakor and the Grand Clean when I go into my lists when I build them at the moment. So yeah, I'm not too keen on there being no Plague Bearers. But the double letters, obviously Skull Taker and the Bloodmaster in them, and then we're gonna see Red Masters buffing them. I have a feeling we're gonna see Blood Crushers. There we go. So 2 units of 6 Blood Crushers. Again, Red Masters make them better. I'm starting to warm more up to them now because I was a little bit of a fan of them, played them for a bit, lost interest in them, became not a fan of them, started playing them again, and actually they can be quite nice. even just to be able to hit the tougher target to put those mortals on, but also then to soak up damage because they are incredibly tough. Incredibly tough. And again, we've got double Renmaster to buff them as well, which is nice. So this is, like I said, very corn-centric list. And then we have unit of Flamers and 3 units of Fleshhounds. So this is what I really like. That's a good amount of little scoring units. The Fleshhounds can still benefit from the Renmasters. A Renmaster makes a unit of Fleshhounds essentially into mini fiends because they become 6/2/2 in combat with 3 attacks, which is actually pretty good. So yeah, I like that. I think a good amount of scoring this with the triple pounds, and then obviously the flamers to drop in and do actions or do a little bit of damage to smaller stuff if they need to. Blood crushers are going to be doing work. Bloodletters will be doing work. What's he going to hold the backfield with? He might even hold the backfield with the 3 flamers, to be fair, unless he holds it with something like bloodletters and then stickies and then ups and downs. I hope he isn't going to hold it with the fat boy because the fat boy wants to go forward. Um, Yeah, interesting. I think this list needs plague bearers, but I do like all the scoring units it has. And I like the fact that it's just got Belloc on the ground him as the monsters. That's the way I've gone. I think they are the 2 most valuable if I had to only pick 2, which is what I've limited myself to at the moment. So I like that. And then this list is really teched into the corn element, which is fine because the corn element is super strong. Yeah, I mean, I like that we've seen 3 lists and all 3 have been fairly different. Um, we've seen 2 that focus very heavy on the corn thing, and obviously Bloodmaster Skull Taker with a unit of blood letters each, and double Renmaster is a bit of a common thing. Um, and it is good to be fair, but this list has the 12 crushers, which is cool. And then again, as far as actual scoring units, this has definitely been the best one so far. And it's the only one we're going to get because the next one is absolutely insane. So let's look at the final list. Again, I've been looking for this one, so we're halfway down. We've got Ryan the Juice of Team Malta. So I with Team Malta, I always keep up with progress for Team Malta because I am part Maltese. I like to keep up with them. Same as England, same as Northern Ireland, same as Italy. I like to focus on them and keep up with them because I have family from all those places. I am part of all them, so I always keep up with them. This exact player has been running demons for a while. He's been over here for a few events over the last this UKTC season, but they've been running very different lists. So they've been running 60 pink horrors and 30 plague bearers. So an absolutely insane list, and then loads of scoring units, flash hands, flamers, and that. So this is a complete 180 to what they've normally been running, which I really, really like. And it shows the real element of a teams list. Just taking a skew and just completely going into it. So he's obviously here, enhancement wise, we've got the Everstave, the Argath, and the Endless Gift. So with spoiler, we're going to be focusing on monsters. Um, so yeah, let's get straight into it. We've got Be'lakor again. We love Be'lakor here on the True Demon Lord show. And we will not be taking no insults in him because he is amazing. He's not amazing. He's really annoying because I hate him, but I love him at the same time. I have a lot of nostalgic sentiment towards him because the old Be'lakor was the first ever model I ever bought. Even though you couldn't even use him on 40k, he came on a square base. And he was metal. That's how long ago this was, but I still, even if he's not where he should be, he is still needed. He's still good, in my opinion. And especially in this list. Then we've got 2 Bloodthirsters. So this is the first time out of these 4 lists we're seeing double Bloodthirster. It is definitely becoming a thing. I'm seeing a lot of it. And in my Discord, we're seeing people pop up, and I think someone's mentioned that. And then just in general, I'm seeing it pop up a lot. Um, and Kevin Lennon's starting to run it. I don't know if he just ran it. He was just at an event. I don't know if he had double bloodthirster, but I know we were talking about double bloodthirster. So, but yes, one of them has Argath, the other one doesn't. Obviously, really good. Uh, does this have Scarbrand in it? I don't want to. I don't want to spoil it. I want to get to the bottom. I can't remember if it has Scarbrand in it. But double bloodthirster is really aggressive. We have the Grand Cleon with the Endless Gift. Again, we will just fall down a rabbit hole if I start talking about him. He's amazing. Kairos. Uh, Interesting. I guess with the way this list is, by the units he's taken, he was actually kind of stuck with taking Kairos because of the points. Because this is 2k on the notes. Is it exactly 2k? Yes. Yes. So, I mean, the thing is with Kairos is his shooting's not bad. It's okay. Um, you kind of want it to be in line of sight now and not indirect. And obviously, he'll give the Lord of Change or himself a chance to get some CP back. So if you want to use Drought of Terror on him or the Lord of Change, you could potentially get CP back if you roll above the round number. So that's not terrible. But I think the reason you really want him, especially in this list, is Lord of Deceit for the Vector being able to up the AP, up the cost of a scrap by 1. So I guess Fate was probably going to sit closer to the combat monsters and the combat threats in the combat games, melee based games, I guess World Eaters and stuff like that. But you want to be careful, you don't want them getting swamped. But yeah, the fact that he can actually make some really key stratagems actually cost an extra CP is quite nice, especially if your opponent has a way to make a CP one less, like a one CP straight into 0. If they've planned it around and they've got like 1 or 2 CP and they've set themselves up to use certain strats, Fate Weaver can just absolutely screw that. So that's quite nice. And again, it gives him more shooting. So, okay. I'm still not a huge fan of him, of Kairos, unfortunately, which is sad. But he is still, again, I think he just, because of the way the points work, he just slots into this list. But I feel like he actually has some value in this list. Um, then we have the Lord of Change with the Everstave. We've already gone over him. Good shooting. Actually, really good support for this list. Really good support for this list. Because again, this is quite an aggro list. As you can already see now, it's all monsters, which is nuts. Um, does this guy want to sit on the backfield and shoot out? Probably wants to move more back to midfield. What will he hold in the backfield? We'll go into that in a minute. And then we've got Rotigus, who I actually really, really like. I think Rotigus is so solid. And I was running him for a bit. I have dropped him because, again, I wanted to kind of slim the monsters down. And the Grand Clean and Bellicor just took precedence. But I do really like him. And the half OC, half move aura is really, really, really good. And being able to get +1 damage against the target for noble units is good. Mostly good on him because it makes him damage 4 or damage 2 on the swings. But also does like D6 +1 damage to the Grand Clean one or damage 2 on his swings. So, there's utility there. And also he's 2d6, 7/2/1 ignore cover flamer. With Devil Wounds is actually not bad either. So really interesting list. As you can see, it's seven monsters. 7 monsters. Really heavy skew list. I'm trying to think what they would probably use this as. Probably an attacking list. It depends. Like they essentially want this list going into an army that can't deal with it. And I feel like this wouldn't be too bad into an elite army, depending on the elite army, but wouldn't be bad into an elite army. I feel like this wants to go into things that are quite tough as well, potentially. Things like knights, because again, it will make mincemeat of knights with the double thirster. The Lord of Change can also do work on them, and Rotigus as well. Um, it definitely doesn't want to be going into hordes or a list that can produce a lot of bodies because it just gets swamped down. But I'm assuming what was it on the backfield? Unless he starts in the backfield, stickies it and moves forward, unless he's against an army that can either put a lot of deep strikes down or do a lot of uppy downies. Fate Weaver might sit on the backfield to be fair, and then just shoot out, and then if anything gets close, he lords and deceits them, I guess, depending on the matchup. I hope he doesn't put the Grand Clean one on the back, because the Grand Clean one wants to go to the middle. But at the same time, I guess if you really want to protect your home, the Grand Clean one is good for that. Obviously it's not going to be a Bloodthirster. Obviously I would assume it's not going to be Bellicor. And I hope he doesn't put Rotigus down there because that's wasting Rotigus's best parts. Like, yes, anything that comes close to him on the backfield will then half their OC, and they've got 22 T12 wounds with a 5-1 to get through. Plus the potential Overwatch. So actually, he's not a bad candidate for holding the backfield to keep it really protected. Should you want to really hold it? Um, but at the same time, I just think he's wasted being held at the back. So it would be really interesting to see how he plays this. Um, I would hope it gets on the stream because I want to see him play it. If I was to play this list, I didn't feel like I needed to really go through this with the other ones because they're all mostly standard lists. But let's talk about it on this one. If I was to play this list, again, it depends what you go into. If you were against a quite heavy combat army, then I would say the firsters or at least one of them start on the board, if not both. But I would say general reserves for this would be a Bloodthirster, probably the Argath Thirster, Rotigus as well, and then I don't know if you would really put much more in reserve because you've got to be careful. You've only got 7 units. The Grand Clean one's going to be going forward to hopefully hold you some points. Obviously, Be'lakor can protect you, so you can frontline. And then if your opponent really wants to come forward and shoot you, and they don't do enough damage, they're now in a pretty good range for you because if they're getting within 18 inches to shoot a Bloodthirster and they don't kill it, that Bloodthirster is getting at least a 6-inch charge the next turn unless it advances with Warp Surge, and everything is in the shadows because again it's all greater demons or Be'lakor, so you don't even have to worry about trying to prop shadows up, um unless you want to drop. Obviously if you're dropping you can't drop in your own shadows, but you can get shadows everywhere on the board. Obviously the Grey and Clean One and Rockets are benefiting each other, Lord of the Paras are benefiting each other, the Thirsters are benefiting each other, which is quite nice. I've literally just realized that he's got them in pairs so he can bring them in off each other, which is quite nice. Very much a nesting doll style list. And Be'lakor lets everyone come in at him. Again, another reason why Be'lakor's still good. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't think this works solo, but it can if it depends on the type of opponent you go into. I feel like this is a type of list that against an army or against a list that maybe can't really kill multiple big threats in a turn and can be so hard pressured, this will just run them over. But there are just armies out there. I feel like Sisters would like this. Certain Marine lists wouldn't hate this. I think Tau can definitely put the damage out as well. Definitely put the damage out. But the thing is, it's definitely a threat saturation list. I would say you definitely want to kind of push all in one. Like you want the fastest going in, you want Brogus going in, you probably want the Ground King on pushing their face and Be'lakor, and you kind of just want to pressure them, give them so many big threats that they can't kill them all, and you just keep pushing them down. That's how I would like to play it if I was to play the list. I would play it very aggressive. Um, and this is, yeah, again, this is what I would assume they're going to push this into either making it the defending list and just making it a bit of a horrible choice. Definitely one out of nowhere, though I don't know if they're really going to do that. But I can definitely see this being their full aggro list as well. But like I said, it's a full skew list, so it's really interesting. I really would like to play a list like this. I just don't think you could. I think it struggles in solos because you're missing those little scoring units. This list doesn't really want it will score, but it's not there to do all the little menial scoring tricks. It really wants to do the threatening combat stuff and just be aggressive. I don't see this taking fixed. I was just thinking, would it take fixed? But what would it take? Take engage, but eh. Um, I mean, Storm. You don't like Storm as a fixed option, but you could, I guess. You don't really want to be doing the actiony stuff unless you do take like Locust and then the Grand Queen one just decides to Locust all game. But you don't really want to cleanse. So no, I would assume tactical. Depending on the game, I guess. I guess there are some games where actually it might do fixed okay. But yeah, really, 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 really interesting list. So as you can see, we've got 4 lists. One very, very, very different with the full monsters. Having 7 of them, and then obviously we've got 2 of that are very corn heavy. one that I actually like, 5 monsters. So it's only 2 monsters less than the big monster list. But then it's also got, you know, um Playbearers and loads of fiends and some one unit of flesh hounds I think I had. So I think that's my favourite list. The was it Team Austria? I think it was the Team Austrian list. That's my favourite out of the four for my own playstyle. I feel like that one probably fits me a little bit. I would like to drop a monster because again I just think five's too many, but at the same time, we are in the teams environment with this. So actually having the 5 monsters I actually think is a skew and it's quite nice. I think actually going into a teams event, if I was to play a teams event now, I would probably skew more into the monsters because again it is a really I think demons have a good like skew ability and can definitely build into a certain archetype that will make them very interesting for teams. It's why I was actually quite surprised to only see 4 of them. Because I feel like we definitely are better than just being like slightly represented. I feel like demons, I mean, yes, there are probably better teams armies out there, but I still think a demon list that really focuses on that type of skew is quite nice. I still don't think we will be that popular, but I thought we'd be more popular than just 4 lists. So interesting. So let me know which list you liked. Like I said, my favorite list was the Austrian one, but obviously the the Maltese one is insanely cool and fun. I assume he's gonna have a lot of fun with that list because it's just big smashing monsters, and that is it. I feel like people also underestimate it a bit because they're gonna think, it's just 7 monsters. I can play around that and scoring and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, it's essentially just wants to ram into you and smash you and eat the midfield. And essentially, it's going to be a full aggro list, as all of these lists really are. There's not really any defensive list. Um, Two of them are very corn centric. One of is massive monsters, and the other one's 5 monsters with 9 fiends. So again, that's still a forward pushing list. But I think the first three definitely a list you could see in solos. The last list, the Maltese list, probably not unless you just want to go and have fun. I still think a good player could do 3 and 2, maybe 4 and 1 with it. But yeah, interesting. So please check out Facebook and Instagram. That's where we got the giveaway going on, and that's where you can keep up to date with all of these. Um, Hopefully, I mean, we got to see some cool lists and talk about some cool lists. But yeah, just check out um oh, losing my words now. Check out last video or last couple videos ago. Last video I think it was with Byron, where we spoke about the heralds, the herald level characters, the attachable characters, and we rated them 1 through 10 of all of them. The ones that could have touched, we didn't talk about the lone ops. That's another video coming. That's a really good video. We really go in depth about each of the characters, some changes we think they could use, and how to get the most out of them, kind of. So, and then we definitely have some interesting videos coming up. We're going to be talking about the lone ops, and we're going to be doing some focuses on the certain units. I'm going to do fiends. We're going to do blood crushes. We're going to do monsters, where I just give full picks and tips and the best ways to get the most out of these units, and just talking about the units in general and their strengths and weaknesses. Um, and then also we attended an event on the weekend. I'm not going to go into it now, but I will be doing a video this week. It should be this week, talking about it and the fact that I may or may not have walked away with a very special prize, which if you keep track of Facebook, you'll already know. Um, but we will be talking about that, and then we will definitely be creating a video series about that special prize as we go through the rest of the year. So thank you for tuning in, and we will catch you all in the next one.